Hello guys, and welcome to the first video of this series where I talk to you about how you can make a really good Fall Guys level when it comes to both how it looks and how it plays. Before we begin however, please note that the version of Creative I'm using is on version 18.0, which means this video will eventually get outdated, which means if you're watching this a year from now, you'll have a lot more options to work with when it comes to making a level in Creative. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get on to the video. Alright, so now we're going to be creating a new level. Now, we aren't going to be making a level today, but I do want to show you what you have to work with. Alright, so now we'll open our objects, and the first tab we'll see are platforms. Now, these are things you stand on and traverse throughout the level. Some of these aren't really platforms, like respawn zones, these checkpoint zones. They're pretty self-explanatory, and I know you're smarter than a 5-year-old, so I don't need to explain to you every single little thing. But there is something I do want to show you with padded floors. Really, anything that you can change the color with, but we're just going to be drawing out a floor. Right, now it comes to changing the color. You just go to settings and just click on color. You have all these colors. These sets of colors over here, it's called a color palette, and almost every single theme has its own respective color palettes. I'm pretty sure the only exceptions being the Wild West theme and the Midnight theme. The Midnight theme sharing the jungle color palette, and the Wild West theme sharing the medieval color palette. Now, why would we need all these different color palettes? I mean, there's only two themes, right? Original and digital. Well, that's where you're wrong. See, if you go into your level settings, right, level rules, you can actually change the background. Now this is called a skybox, but you can call it whatever you want. Background, skybox, it's interchangeable. All the skyboxes we have, as of now, is as follows. Original, Halloween, digital, medieval, future, winter, space, jungle, volcano, scrapyard, festival, dragon caves, and midnight. We'll just be sticking to original for now. Now with padded floors, there's also a few other options. You can change the visibility and the collision. This is for almost every single object. And how you could even change the material. Now there's only one material, and that's slime. It's sort of useful for padded floors, but not really. Now, visibility, that's a really important option because you can add barriers to levels. I mean, there's also some other objects here, like the Hexa tiles, for example. You can change the tiles per row, tiles per column. Both of these only go up to 10. The despawning type, the respawning type. I honestly recommend that you go through all of it yourself, because if I talked about every single thing, we would be here all day, and I know you don't have all day, and neither do I. So let's move on to the next tab, blocks and barriers. Now, again, it's self-explanatory. It's blocks and barriers. Most of these are really useful to enhancing your level decoratively, or just changing up your platforming. Let's pick this triangle, for example. It's a really small triangle, like, yeah, no, that's really small. Well, how do we make this bigger? Because there's no grid option for it now. We just need to go to settings, and this is where things get pretty good. Now, you can change the length, the height, the depth, or everything at once. Now just saying, if you do have a pretty unusual scale and you're trying to scale all of it at once, that just doesn't happen. It just sets the scale to all three types to just this number. I mean, you can make it even smaller if you wanted to. This is really small. What would you even use this for? It goes as small to this, and as absolutely massive to this. Again, you can change the collision and the material, but physics? What are physics? Now, I'm gonna get a sphere for this because it's a lot easier to explain. They have pretty good physics compared to a lot of other objects. Now, when you enable physics to something, guess what? It has physics, which means once I start playtesting, it's gonna start dropping down. It could even make a funny little sound effect. And combined with scaling right and a sloped angle, you can make a rolling boulder. Watch it tumble down. Now, this wouldn't really cause that much of an inconvenience to the player, but when you combine this with the slime material, oh, and it touches you and it kills you, now you got yourself a custom obstacle. So yeah, I recommend that you experiment with physics as well. Experiment with everything I talk about in this video, because you need to know everything. You need to know the ins and outs of creative to really make a good level, and also to come up with ideas yourself. Alright, so now let's move on to our next tab, moving surfaces. Moving surfaces are surfaces that move. Duh! So you can get yourself a spinning plate. Now with everything that rotates, you can change the size, the direction, and the rotation speeds. So this is slow, and this is fast. There's also a thing called a start delay. And start delays are like really good for making your levels seem more hectic than they are. So yeah, for almost everything here, there's a speed and a start delay. I say almost everything. It's primarily these 4 surfaces. But really, are they surfaces or are they obstacles? Honestly, I consider them more as obstacles, to be honest. This is a seesaw, and if you played seesaw before, you'll know that this will have physics. And so will all of these push boxes. Now these push boxes were added before physics was added to creative. For a time, these were pretty useful, but they're sort of redundant today. There's also the drawbridge. Now, there is quite a lot of options to this, and the drawbridge isn't really used in that many levels today, and quite a shame because it's pretty versatile. Somewhat versatile, that is. You can change the max tilt angle, the scale. Well, you can only like make it smaller. Pretty disappointing. But these are all the objects in this section that have physics. And these are all the objects that spice up your platforming. Now again, all of these have the same sort of settings, some more versatile than others. But again, I'm not going to be talking to you all day showing how you can use these in your levels, because that's not the purpose of this part of the tutorial. It's just to show you around. Alright, now it's time for the next tab, obstacles. Now, these are things that stop you from getting to the end so easily, and they all have the same settings, start delay, speed, power. I mean, some of them are quite unique, like the cannon, and the bounce board, and the speed arch. But for the sake of this video's length, I'm just going to assume that you're accustomed to almost every single obstacle, so I'm not going to be here all day explaining the same settings over and over and over again, even though I already am doing that. I do want to briefly talk about the bounce board, that is. Now the thing is, this was mainly used in co-op maps, and people don't really make those anymore, which is pretty sad, but I can understand why. Like, this seems pointless. Let me just get this egg though, and I'll jump on this. Yep, and it carries some momentum over to me. Now this is a lot better with a heavy block. That's what it's called, right? Yeah. Look at how much higher I bounce up. You could certainly use this for some level concepts. There's not really much you can do with this. But overall, it's just a tab full of obstacles that hinder you in some sort of way, or maybe help you. Alright, so now that we've gotten obstacles out of the way, it's now time to move on to decorations and video effects. I grouped these together because they give the same purpose. They enhance your level visually, right? They make your level look more pretty. Stickers are like really important. There's like a bunch of stickers. Look how many stickers there are. That is so many stickers. And you know, especially for like the last year or so, they've been like adding a ton of new decorations. There is quite a lot to this tab. Now video effects is the newest tab added to Fall Guys Creative, and because of that, there's not really much you can choose from. They're more so here to accommodate the midnight theme that was added in this recent update. But you can use them in other levels if you want to. And for the final tab, interactions, this by far is the best tab. Why? Because you can make really interesting levels with these sets of objects. Let's just grab a force field over here. Right, so these two are buttons, and what they do is that if someone presses on them, it activates something that's linked to it. How do you link something? Well, it's simple really. You just gotta select the link option, and you gotta drag this to whatever object you can actually link it with. Same thing goes for this pressure plate too. Oh wait, I might have to create another theme barrier for this. Hold up. Yep, it's exactly the same. Now, when it comes to objects like these, where you can link objects to it and create interesting scenarios, you should keep in mind that there is a limit. Right, so here we have this button, right, and you only need to press it once to activate or deactivate whatever it's linked to. But with a pressure pad, right, yeah, it activates the same, but if you step off the pressure pad, guess what? It's deactivated again. Now, honestly, these were, like, very useful for co-op levels, and people don't really make co-op levels anymore, which is quite a shame. But to be fair, there wasn't really quite a lot you could do with these, and there was only, like, 1,000 budget back then. Let's get to our next object, the carry object spawner. There's a lot of creative exclusive items here, like these punching blocks and these fan blocks. They were primarily used for PvP maps and co-op maps. You can have a maximum quantity of 3. I mean, it's alright, but like, 3? You're kidding me? Right, now I skipped this over, but this thing is a power-up spawner, and there's like 4 types of power-ups. Beanball, Sneaky Bean, Party Crasher, and Rubber Chicken. So these are how these power-ups work. So just grab it, and then you activate it. Now what a beanball does is that you roll down a hill. You carry a lot of speed and momentum. It works very well for race levels. I'm not sure about any other type of level you do, but it primarily should be used for race levels. Now, this just makes you invisible. Well, it doesn't even make you invisible. To be honest, this is kind of useless. I mean, must I add, you cannot combine power-ups. You can only have one at a time. I mean, yeah, it doesn't even fully make you invisible. I've seen how other players use it. It's sort of useless. Right now, these next two are, like, used for PvP, like this Party Crasher. It's basically like a projectile. And the thing with this projectile is that it can bounce off of literally anything. And when someone touches this, yep, that's what happens to them. Now the Rubber Chicken is also like a sword. Use it to like whack other players. It's probably the best power up to date, I'd say. It can also be used to interact with physics objects and destructible objects. Yeah, I don't think I told you about destructible objects. They're just like really fragile platforms. That's about it. But with a power up spawn, you can control the power up duration, how long it lasts, the amount you get when you pick it up, and the respawn quantity. So there's also a respawn cooldown. Honestly, I really love power-ups, and I really hope they add more in the near future. Right now, here is where it gets spicy. Let's start off with the rotation controller. You connect objects to it by linking them, and they rotate around it. Let me show you how this works. So let's grab like a padded block, size it a bit. Let's actually move this over here. Let's link it to this. Right now, you just playtest. And guess what? It rotates. Just like that. You can actually control the way it rotates by rotating the controller itself. So, if it's flat down like this, it's gonna like rotate like it's a spinner. Now, if it's not at the center, and it's far away like this, then it rotates more far out. There is a lot of potential to this. Again, there's a usual setting, start delay, the rotation speed, a reverse option. There's also a lock rotation. Now, I don't really know how to explain this. So this is what it looks like without the lock rotation. And this is what it looks like with the lock rotation. Honestly, I can't really explain it. I just had to show you to it. There's also the ignore rotation axis, which means the object just spins on its own. It's really useful for saving budget in some cases. That's pretty much it for the rotation controller. Now for the most recent addition, and that's the trigger zone. This is an extremely versatile object. Now there's actually a points option for this if you select points mode when creating a new level, but of course I selected a race, so you won't be seeing that option here. So first, there's the trigger object. Now this is basically what triggers the action. Now it could be the player, or any of the objects. It can even be a draggable object or a physics object. There's also the quantity On its own, it doesn't really matter that much until you look at the comparison operator. There's equal to, not equal to, less than, more than, equal to or less than, equal to or more than, yeah. Alright, so let's use the force field in another example, so let's just link it here. And the options I have are the trigger object being the egg, the quantity 1, and it has to be equal to 1 in order to work. There's also the check if object left. Let's check that. So let's put our egg in. Oh wait, there's also a despawn option. I forgot to mention that. Let's just set it to none. Alright, so let's put it in the trigger zone. And it activates. Oh wait, no, the egg rolled out. No. Alright, let's try that again. Let's just gently place it in. As you can see, it opens. Bro. Okay, now I finally got the egg to stop rolling. Now let's put in another egg. And now it doesn't work anymore. Like, it's really simple. Like, this is really simple once you understand it. And this is especially good for co-op levels and points levels in particular. I haven't seen many people use this for survival levels or race levels, or at least I don't have that much knowledge of people using it in those types of rounds. But I definitely recommend experimenting for yourself, like, and that's it. That's all of the tabs, but I still want to explain what tools are. Now, if you look at the bottom screen, you can see that tools are activated with the down button on the D-pad, what it's called. Right, so I press that, and there's like a bunch of tools here. Well, not a bunch, 6, but like, let's first do undo and redo. Now, this is really self-explanatory. Just go to the level history, how it's changed, and you can choose to like revert it. So like, see, now we're back here. Now we can redo to when we were here. But when I do this and I do something new, guess what? Everything above got deleted. Now the second tool is object snap, and basically if you deactivate this, it stops objects from snapping to each other. This is really useful when you overlap something. Wait, overlap? What do you mean overlap? I can't overlap this. But when I have this reactivated, yeah, then it snaps. But about overlapping, it's like really useful for decorating your level and also setting out a path for your level. Honestly, overlapping as a concept is really simple, but for a time, you actually weren't able to overlap objects. I mean, you were able to, but only with a glitch. And even still today, you can't overlap some objects. Multi-select, like this, and just like that. And then you get to select and move multiple things at once. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty simple. Now, camera snap, I don't care about this one, and you shouldn't either. Just leave this one on. I'll just say that. Now, precise movement. This allows you to position objects more specifically. Alright, this is what it looks like with it disabled. It's mainly when it comes to rotating stuff you can notice it. Now when we turn it on, look at that. Look at the, oh my god. I'm pretty sure it's for every single angle. Is there anything else I want to talk about? I think we covered everything we needed to. I mean, I know there's the level rules, but I'm not gonna go over this today. It's I'm gonna save this for another video when you verify and publish your level and promote it. That's gonna be a later part. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Make sure you like and subscribe and turn on notifications for when I upload next, and I will see you next time. Bye.